Start, if we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
and liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Taking the items on the agenda, the first item is either the continuation or the hearing on the proposed fire contract with the village. As you all are probably aware, we have been negotiating for a number of months with the village as to an appropriate contract for fire protection. And what is presented here tonight is something that we understand that the village is agreeable to, and we'll hear from the public if anybody has any comments on it. Just to briefly explain the contract, it runs from 2014 through 2018, and it covers period starting January 1, 2014. It calls for a payment to the village for the fire protection district of $160,000, which is more than what we paid in 2013, which was about $140,000, and it is more than we budgeted, which is about $149,000. The contract also calls for termination of our interim agreement with the village, where we were paying a monthly amount, and that will go away upon ratification of this agreement. In addition, the contract calls for payments with increments of $10,000 a year for each year from 2015 through 2018, assuming the contract lasts that long. There is a provision that either party can terminate the contract upon notice given on or before September of each year, and the termination would be effective on the last day of the year. The contract also provides that the village will provide insurance to protect in the event of a loss. And the contract provides that the village will allow the town access to the same data that the village has with respect to the fire department, including budget requests, and the village will authorize the town to have a liaison with the village fire department. The agreement also provides that the parties will use their best efforts to form expeditiously a new fire district encompassing the village and portions of the town fire protection district, excluding Hillside and Rhinecliff, unless they decide that they want to join a consolidated district. the consolidated district would set its own budget, and it would be voted on by the residents in that district, just as the school budget is voted on by residents of the school district. So that's basically the provisions of the contract. So let me open the hearing if anybody wants to talk about the proposed contract. Not seeing a rush to the podium, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing unless any of the board members have a comment. Let me say, this contract was highly negotiated. Elizabeth as supervisor and board members had a lot of input and thought into the contract.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Closed. Public hearing is closed. Why don't we take up the resolution, which appears in tab 1, which authorizes the supervisor or deputy supervisor to sign the proposed contract. Now, it's my understanding that the village will take this up at its next meeting, which is what, in September, or do you meet tomorrow night? December 8th? September 8th. Do I have a motion to authorize the signing of this contract? And we would present it to the village.
Motion.
Lane makes a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say
Aye.
aye. Okay. Second item on the agenda is an authorization for the deputy supervisor to sign a contract for high-speed internet service. Apparently, in upgrading our computer system and doing off-site backup, we've encountered a glitch where we need a greater speed in transmitting information to the off-site. And we understand, and Joan has been speaking with Time Warner, that they can increase our internet speed, and the cost of the upgrade is approximately $50 per month extra.
Right.
Now, that includes promotion and some credits for our existing service. It sounds like something that we need because our system is crashing without higher speed. Alan is our expert. You can't make it go faster.
No, you need Time Warner to help.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the upgrading of the contract?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
The only thing you should know is that we're for the first time backing up all the data that we have to the internet, to a backup facility on the internet, and that's why we need the extra bandwidth. So it also provides a much higher level of reliability.
So Alan, you're bringing us into the 21st century, and
I think we're up
we
to
have to
about-
leave the 20th century?
We're up to about 1990, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, we look forward to the next 20 years of upgrade. There is a lot of upgrading going on. We have technicians running around Town Hall, and we expect new computers to be installed very shortly, as well as a new telephone system.
Yep.
Let's vote on this resolution. All in favor of approving the contract with Time Warner?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Joan?
I just wonder where it's being paid from.
I don't think we've reached that point yet. If we have to, Bruce will take it out of contingency if Shelley can't move the money. But it obviously has to be paid out of someplace. So it may be that at the next meeting, if Shelley doesn't think she has enough money appropriated in that line, we'll have to do some budget transfers. Going to item number 3. This is a letter to the county where we got a grant to put in handicapped accessible restrooms at the Thompson Mazzarella Park. Under the grant, the work was supposed to proceed this year. What has happened, it's run into the requirement of a lot of approvals that were needed. We needed approvals from SHPA, DC Health Department, which has really held up construction, and it appears that the work will not be done this fall. So we need to ask the county to extend the deadline for doing the work. I don't know, Bruce, if you want to add anything. I know that you're familiar with this.
Yeah, I've been working on this for 7 years, and it's a long, drawn-out process. It's been very complicated, and the town has made sure that we do everything that we could possibly do to make sure we're doing it right. So, yeah, this is, normally grants are not extended for more than a year, and this will be the second one-year extension that we're asking for. And it's because by the time we get through the planning board and everything, the 45-day bid process, we're into frozen ground by the time we can award bids, and that's not going to work.
Do you know if we have spoken to Ann Saylor already from the county, and we
Yes.
think it will receive a favorable?
No, we don't know that.
Oh,
We
okay.
just know that if we don't ask, we're at risk.
I think we all owe a debt of thanks to Bruce, who has taken on Thompson Mazzarella Park, and as he said, he's been involved in it 7 years, and it's been a very difficult assignment. Perhaps at some point you'll lead us in a silent prayer that Ann Saylor extends the grant, but let's vote on the motion. All in favor of approving the proposed letter to the county, say aye.
Aye.
Any negatives? Approved. The last item on our formal agenda,
You have 2 more.
pardon me?
Aren't we doing the cloud computing for bookkeeping?
Yes,
It's
yeah,
half 4.
yes, that is the last item.
Oh, because I have a number 5 on mine,
Yeah.
which is the caravan company.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, second to the last.
Take no time.
Is approval of a contract for the bookkeeping software to use the cloud, whatever that is.
Well, what it means, up until now, the accounting department has used a dedicated computer to do bookkeeping. And it failed the other day, and it actually failed a month or two ago, and was repaired. What this does is that it takes it off a dedicated computer and puts it into the internet, onto a site on the internet, a server, if you will, so that the application can be used from any of the workstations with the proper authorization and passwords and so forth. So it eliminates the critical resource of the server here, and allows us, and it's plus a lot cheaper than buying another computer. So and it's an emergency because we're kind of can't do any bookkeeping until we approve this.
Right, my understanding is that RDA could have something up and running by tomorrow.
Right.
By the end of the day tomorrow. Whereas if we had to go out and buy our own computer and program it, it would take several weeks.
That's right.
And the cost, my understanding, is comparable. Again, this motion does have where the $1,200 will come from the contingency line. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, when we bought this software and we spent $40-something thousand on it, at that time, the cloud was supposed to have been implemented so that other people could use it and it wasn't a one-person operation. So this is what we'd intended to do many years ago.
Yeah.
All those in favor of approving this expenditure?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Joan, this is passed. The last item on the agenda has to do with the Caravan Stage Company, and I think this is a proposed use of the town dock to put on a show, and maybe the people proposing it could tell us what this is about. Maybe you could come to the microphone if you're Mr. Caravan.
You mentioned Alan was going to take you into the 21st. We're going to split your focus and take you from the 19th to the 21st at the same time. But this is a 90 or 83-foot ship that we do performances on the deck and up in the rigging of the ship. And we've been traveling in Europe for the last 8.5 years and got back late last fall, and this is our first tour up the coast. And we're performing right now in Athens, and Athens, I'm sorry, yes. And
Athens, is that pronounced?
That's how you pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
That's how the people that live there pronounce it.
And and so we approached the Rhinebeck Hotel, and they suggested that we come and ask for permission to perform there. And there's no cost to the village at all. We just we tie up and we do the shows, and the audience arrives, and we ask for donations for our show. We're a 501c3. And
Is there a suggested donation?
there's usually a suggested donation of $5. Yeah. And this, whatever monies we procure from donations goes to feed us and feed the ship. So.
What kind of insurance?
We have, we have an insurance policy with Lloyd's of London. We supply you with certificate of insurance. Yeah. There's actually, I brought this booklet here with a bunch of pictures. There's the ship and the show. You can see it's very colorful, very spectacle orientated. There's a ship going through Istanbul and going through Greece. And there's an insurance copy of there's a certificate of insurance right there from another community.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank
It's a
you.
wonderful thing to bring down to the river.
Thank you. Yeah, it's we really enjoy the Hudson. It's a beautiful river.
The performance is on the ship. Where will people sit?
In
Or
the
stand?
park, there's a fair amount of ground space, and people bring chairs and blankets and sit and there's a lot of grass there actually. So.
And what time will these performances be?
Well, it says in our letter that it'd be 8:30, and the show's an hour and 20 minutes.
8:30 to 10 in their letter.
Pardon me?
It was 8:30 to 10 in their letter. 8:30 to 10.
I looked at some of your past performances on YouTube before I came here. So, there was an opera or something.
Yeah.
And Hacked, there was stuff about that. I like, I think it's a good thing. It's very interesting what you're doing. It's kind of reminds me of many years ago.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of concerns here. The power down there, do you have an electrician that can work with our limited power?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. In the past, this year, we have dissuaded the Chamber of Commerce from doing concerts there because of safety concerns with the ramp, emergency services. Henry Campbell, our emergency services person, and Peter Dunn, our police person, have both said that it's not a good place because there's no parking. So while I think on Saturday and Sunday, those are two of the days, right? I think you're Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Well, it's actually not. We postponed it. Originally, we were requesting this coming weekend, but it's actually the following weekend.
But it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Probably in this case, it'll just be Friday, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, okay.
Yeah.
Saturday shouldn't be a problem because there's a lot of parking. The train station's empty. But Friday night is kind of crazy there. And so the same concern that they had with the Chamber of Commerce concerts would be on. So I think we would have to get to them and find out what's going on. The other thing we would have to do either way is, this is prime boating season, so we're going to have to shut down the ramp ahead of time so that the boats aren't stuck out in the river. That's a public ramp.
Right, I know, but we would be on the face dock, not on the boat ramp.
I know, but you don't want a trailer backing in to take the boat out of the water.
True.
While there's people
Yeah.
standing there.
Yeah.
So we would have to shut that down ahead of time.
Is there still a lot of people loading and unloading it after dark? Because
They come in, that's when they come back in.
Okay.
After dark, you think, Bruce?
Yeah. So, we'd have, if you go on at 8:30, we'd have to say we're going to shut it down at 7 or something like that. We have to post the sign and get whatever it is across the ramp so people don't drive down there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Can I just address your point about Peter Dunn and Henry with safety? After that issue came up with the Chamber of Commerce, Patricia Wind, who now the chair of the Rhinecliff Waterfront Committee, and myself as liaison, we actually sat down with Henry and with Peter, and we heard all their concerns, and were willing to address all their concerns, and they seemed to be comfortable with that. And then when we went back with Colleen, she said that they had already decided against it, but they were willing to go forward if we could address their concerns, and it seems like when we met with them, they were all things that we could address.
Okay, but in this case, the short runway, somebody's going to have to get to them, so we're consistent in case there's a problem.
Right, but I think we could do that again. I think,
That's fine. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's got to happen.
right, no problem. I think we can do that. Patricia and I can definitely speak with Henry and find
Okay.
out what exactly they need, and I can get back to the board with any information.
What costs are we going to encounter for this? Any costs that
No,
cost us anything?
no. No, there's no cost at all to the village.
We are the town. You're-
Sorry, town, sorry. Yeah, okay.
What about, you're going to notify the police that you're going to have this, they should be notified.
Right, yeah.
You would take on that responsibility? What about the responsibility of printing and putting up signs that you can't use the ramp after 7 o'clock? That should go on those days, those signs should go up. Is that something you would be responsible for, putting those signs up?
Normally, we do that.
What?
Normally, we do, with
We would do
everything else,
that?
we do that because we're the ones making the decision to close down our ramp.
And we have signs, or do we have to print those up?
I don't know whether we have them or not, but, we get the highway department to put the things across, the sawhorses across, and we just put up a sign.
Yeah, I don't know if it's highway or maintenance.
Maintenance doesn't have the sawhorses.
I'm sorry, put the sawhorses, but I mean, forgetting about the sawhorses, shouldn't a sign go up a few days before the performance?
Yeah.
Saying on Saturday?
Yeah, like the waterfront committee does it for Waterfront Day, and I don't remember any other ones.
So Elaine, you're the liaison. Will you
Yep.
make sure that those signs go up at least 3-4 days before?
Closing at 7?
Is that
I can,
sufficient?
yeah, I can give you the exact days, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Now, what kind of publicity will there be for this?
We have posters, which we have some out in the car, actually, but they're quite colorful, big posters. We're putting those up around town, and using the internet newsletter services to advertise the show, plus putting articles in the local papers and doing some radio interviews.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty, what we do is pretty unusual, and what we are is pretty unusual. So the word of mouth seems to travel very fast, faster than we can travel.
You have no idea how many people this will attract, right?
No, I mean, it depends on, a number of things, but one of them definitely is the weather. And sometimes when it's, threatening rain, it dampens the enthusiasm. But even with, I would say anywhere from 100 to 300 people.
The YouTube ones that I watched, they all said 500. And
Yeah.
they said a lot of people leave early because they don't quite get it.
Yeah, that was, yes, I don't know where that was, but,
There were a few of them that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know if they were talking about the same
Yeah.
one, but.
Have we ever had 500 people down there on Waterfront Day? Can we?
Absolutely.
We can accommodate, you think,
Right,
that?
but we have to close off the ramp. We cannot have cars and boat trailers on the ramp. We're
Right,
not
so
gonna fit the
people will cross the tracks on
Yeah.
that. I guess the last thing, you would propose this as the certificate of insurance.
Right.
And you would name the town as
Right.
an additional insured.
Yeah.
Elaine, I think you got to run this by the Spain agency just to make sure that this is sufficient.
Okay.
As to what insurance, what the insurance certificate would be. This is for $1 million for each occurrence. And I don't understand tenant's legal liability, $250,000. I don't know, we're not a tenant, we're not. I guess the other thing is you're going to tie up where we have the bulkheads.
Right.
We've had the big ships tying up there,
Yeah,
Bruce.
it's
not
plenty
gonna-
deep enough, and we've had over 150-footer tie up there, so that's okay.
I spoke to Bobby this afternoon, too, and he said the same thing. He said it's not a problem.
And
Okay, should we run this certificate of insurance
No, we have to
by,
give-
or you'll get us something?
I have to, as soon as you approve our use, then we'll get you a specific insurance certificate with the name of the town and the address, the proper address, and the dates and everything. So,
Okay.
yeah, and we would issue that to you. Well, we'd either email it to you or, yeah, that's the best thing to do is we get our insurance agent to email it to you.
Yep, I'm going to give you my email address, and then
Okay.
I'll make sure the board gets everything, because I'll need it to make the phone call to Spain Agency, so if you can email it directly to me
Okay.
as soon as possible, because we still don't have a whole lot of time before,
Yeah, exactly.
so I'd like to get it to them as soon as quickly
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah,
So here's my email address.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll only write my name for you, I'm sorry.
You're a Florida corporation.
C3, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what is your name again?
Paul Kirby.
Oh, Paul.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh,
And you are a director?
you're welcome.
I am, yeah.
Are you a performer?
Not anymore. I'm a writer-director, and Adriana, my partner, is the designer, producer.
What kind of show do you put on?
Well, this one is called Hack, the Treasure of the Empire, and it's all about the band of young hackers who they hack into the gold of the largest bank in the world, and their plan is to distribute that gold free throughout the 7 seas. So it's kind of like it's a pirate show in a sense that it's very nautical, but it's also very contemporary.
For both adults and kids?
It's, we recommend it for adults and teenagers, but there isn't any profanity or nudity or anything like that, or any violence in it, but some of the themes are more adult and more
Okay.
teenager, and we put that in there because we don't want anybody to be upset
Alan, you want to see this?
that their kids can't understand it. So it's a very poetic text, yeah,
Bruce,
and it's all sung. Yeah.
Bruce, do we have to pay the police any,
only if we ask for additional coverage. We normally wouldn't ask for additional coverage for this. We don't, if we close the ramps, we don't need anybody patrolling the ramp. So, and if there's an emergency, we're going to call 911 and get whoever comes, so.
you start at 8:30, what time are you over?
9:30. It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Do you use loudspeakers?
We do.
So we have a potential for some residents to be disturbed by the loudspeakers, but you'll be finished certainly by 10 o'clock?
Oh, yes, yeah. We're finished by 9:30.
Which is much sooner than the hotel when they have weddings and music there. It goes later than that, the sound, so.
And
Yeah.
Elaine will be distributing cotton balls to everyone, right?
They can just come right to my house and pick them up.
Say, vote for Elaine and Alan. Cotton ball.
We have never requested nor needed police.
I'm sorry, you never what?
We've never requested or never had police at any other location, so I just wanted to, it's a very, it's a cultural event, yeah.
Right. No, I'm just concerned that if you draw a huge crowd, there may be traffic jams going to the dock, especially if it's a free event. And we will no doubt have complaints from residents if there is a huge traffic jam that they can't get to their home. So that was my concern. Should we vote as to whether to allow this? Now, do you usually do a contract with municipality, or how does that work?
No, we just get permission to, from the board to perform at the dockside.
So it's on 2 dates?
We arrive early because there's a fair amount of work involved to put the setup on the ship and put all the sound and lights out. And then, again, on the other side of the performances, it takes a couple of days to tear everything down. But we're heading south, and we have a 2-week engagement in Brooklyn, so we have to get to that as well.
Have you set the dates you do the performances here?
Well, we changed it because we're now in Athens, sorry, and but I can email to Elaine.
I have them, actually. Patricia had emailed you earlier,
What are
September
they?
5th, 6th, and 7th?
Yes, but then I need to give you the dates of our arrival
Beforehand
and
and after
departure.
Halloween. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it's 3 dates for the performances?
I think it'll just be 2.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't know whether it's the 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th?
Well, I think
or-
he said before Friday and Saturday, so I guess that would make it the 5th and the 6th.
Yes, although I need to, I'll have to
Confirm that? Okay.
confirm everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll get
So-
with Kathy to shut down the ramp after you talk to Henry and
Yep.
Peter?
So Kathy's the one I would contact for that?
Yeah,
Okay.
they drop off the horses.
And you need how many days before the performance?
Well, we usually arrive, if we were doing a show on Friday night, we usually arrive on Tuesday afternoon, and then we use Wednesday and Thursday to set up and do sound checks and all that, and then do the performances on Friday, Saturday, and then another 2 days to tear down, and then we leave on the favorable tide, that 3rd day after the show.
Bruce, is there any problem or any tying up that part of the dock for?
Well, a lot of the people who park where they're not supposed to park will probably have a problem with a boat sitting in front of them.
Okay, but they're not supposed to park there anyway.
Right. But they could walk down the,
So
towards-
it sounds like the
south.
permission, and Joan, maybe take this down, that you're asking for is permission to put on 2 performances in the evening on 2 days in the first part of September. The performances would be starting at 8:30 and be over before 10. And you want permission to tie up your vessel 3 days before the day of the performance, and permission to stay at the dock 2 days after the performance.
Right, actually, it would be in the late afternoon of the
Second
first
day.
day, so it would, yeah, in effect, it's 2.5 days before, yeah.
Okay, I think I said 3 days before,
It's
which is
7 nights
fine.
altogether.
Yeah. So what we're voting on is that permission with those terms. Any discussion? by the board.
Subject to what Elaine's going to check on.
Right, the insurance and,
I'll contact Peter and Henry and Kathy, Spain.
okay, and you're going to notify
Signs up. Yep.
the police, and you're going to arrange for signs to
Yep.
be put up.
We can give you that, we can give you this certificate. It's just an example, so you can have it.
Oh, that's great, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to see us named as an additional insured. You're talking about the certificate of insurance.
I'm only suggesting we give you this as an example, and you will be named, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'd like to run by our insurance agent the exact thing that you're going to give us.
Right, and that's, I was going to give you this as an example of what we'll send you, but it'll have the town name on it and address.
Right,
And the
but-
specific dates as well.
I
Yeah.
know it, but he's probably suggesting it'll save some time if I can show them, so they can at least find out if the language and the terms are good enough to say, okay, once they send us the final one, it'll be fine.
Right, well, I don't know if it'll save time. How fast can you get the certificate of insurance instead of requiring the insurance agent to look at 2 documents? If they can get it to us fast, they can look at one
But
document.
it'd be the same document, right?
It's
It'll only
not
say
gonna,
town.
I don't know if it's gonna be the same document.
I see.
Then you gotta proof it to make sure it's the same document. Let's see how fast they can get it
Okay.
to us. Have we voted, do we have a motion to approve the license to
Motion.
use the dock with those terms?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, we look forward to seeing it.
Okay, good. Likewise, we're excited about coming here. As we walked around, we found quite a long, rich history of arts events here, so we're looking forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joel, before we get to you, let me ask, is there anybody here from the public who wants to address the board? Hearing nobody. Joel, you want to talk to us briefly?
Thank you, Joel.
I'll be brief. First, I wanted to thank the 4 of you and Elizabeth for allowing, we did our second Rhinebeck Town Hall Repair Cafe a few weeks ago. Thanks to Mr. Washburn for once again helping us to get the tables here and back. I appreciate that. We're going to try to do another one here on Saturday, October 11th, if that's okay. Sort of like a pre-Halloween version. Folks like Kathleen Everett and others kind of looking to help people make and recycle their Halloween costumes. So feel free to put that on your calendars. Also,
Well, wait a minute, you've arranged this with the town clerk as to whether that date is available?
yes. And I would also humbly submit to you, it's not every day you see shoes like the ones that Mr. Kirby and his partner are wearing, so I took the liberty. I'm already got the word out to my 5,000 friends on Facebook that one of the best reasons to come out, and it was hard to Google, it's caravanstage.org. If you look for Caravan Company on Google, you're going to see a lot of things that are not involved with this. So it's caravanstage.org. That is your website, right? All right. People should just come out on the 5th and 6th or 7th, whatever, just to see those shoes. But, I gotta get me some of them shoes myself. There was a letter to the editor in the Poughkeepsie Journal a week ago Saturday. I just want to briefly mention because heroin is not a huge issue only in Poughkeepsie or Beacon or Dover, whatever. Heroin has proven to be a massive issue in places like Rhinebeck and Clinton. And I've been talking for a long time about, look at Portugal. They decriminalized drugs and heroin, and the drug use is not a real big issue, in places like Portugal where they've decriminalized it. I really had no idea about this whole thing about a heroin maintenance program or a harm reduction until this letter to the editor a week ago Saturday. And so I just briefly want to reference it. I've talked to Kenneth Glad, Dr. Glad. He's the commissioner for the Dutchess County Department of Mental Hygiene. He seems to kind of have a little bit of an open mind. He's willing to explore it. In Spain, Switzerland, Denmark, Netherlands, Canada, Germany, they're doing this. And heroin and other drug problems have been, radically lowered. So I just urge people, because there's been a lot of media coverage on the heroin epidemic, heroin problems hitting all over Dutchess County. 63 Dutchess County people dead from drug overdoses in Dutchess County last year alone. And I know young people, I'm not going to say any names. I mean, I know a young person who I've worked with here in Rhinebeck who has struggled with heroin. So I just urge to put that up, because I can't do it alone. We cannot make I can't make a heroin maintenance program happen in Dutchess County by myself. I'm at 876-2488, 453-2105. Briefly, again, I wanted to reference the Northern Dutchess Alliance. They came out with this report 6 years ago, the Blueprint for Economic Development. Why am I talking about it again? That report calls for a minimum wage to be a living wage. For the last 20 years, I've organized the Labor Day rallies here in Dutchess County. We're doing another one. Various state elected legislators, city officials, county legislators, labor union folks. It's going to be Monday, September 1st, next Monday, Poughkeepsie Post Office at noon. I'm just putting that out to everybody. And the thing I handed out, this guy, Dr. David Carpenter, who's coming to Clinton Town Hall on Wednesday, September 17th. If you're an addict of WAMC Northeast Public Radio like I am, you've heard this guy for the last decade or two on WAMC talking about the PCBs. He's not just an expert on the PCBs. He's the director of the Institute for Health and the Environment at SUNY Albany. He's an amazing expert on electromagnetic frequency radiation, as far as the power lines and the power towers, as far as the so-called smart meters, as far as the encoding receiving transmitters that are in half our homes in the Hudson Valley from Central Hudson. This guy does not come to Dutchess County every day. I urge you to put this on your calendars. It's Wednesday, September 17th, 5:30 p.m. He's in the movie that we're screening. It's called Take Back Your Power, takebackyourpower.net. It's a bipartisan movie, kind of equally bashes Republicans and Democrats. And the fact that Dr. David Carpenter is in Dutchess County is something taking note. The only other thing I was going to say is Northern Dutchess News did an article about Patrick Properties and the Dutchess County Office of Computer Information Services, and gee, maybe the county may think about buying it. Patrick Properties, CJ Patrick, Gene Patrick, whatever, they've gotten about a $250,000 county contract for many, many years. I brought up the issue of pay to play, how we really need to do something about it, because they've also donated a lot of money to the power structure in county government, and that's really gone unreported, at least by the one newspaper reporter there. So it's been a big issue for me for like 20 years. Lucille Patterson and I worked on this. Orange County, Rockland County passed laws against pay to play. I just don't want 2014 to go down without us talking about it. That's it. Esopus in Clarkstown, 100% fossil fuel free. No taxpayer dollars. I know you guys are doing great stuff with solar in the town and the village. If you've been reading the Daily Freeman and Lower Hudson News, in the town of Clarkstown, West Nyack in Rockland County, and across the river in Esopus, the developers are paying for these solar farms. I'm talking about thousands of solar panels, and everybody's making money. So I'm just saying it's another option to go one better. I've been pushing for solar for the county buildings. Getting resolutions passed, it never happens. But thank you for your patience, Ivan. I haven't bugged you guys in a few months.
Let me ask you one thing. I attended a meeting of supervisors and highway departments recently of people around here, and a county legislator was there. And he said that a couple of towns have been pushing the legislature, county legislature, to allow the payment of county taxes to be done in installments.
Legislator Kelsey's proposal.
Pardon me?
Legislator Kelsey's proposal.
And at least some of the supervisors who were there thought it's really not a very good idea.
The town of Clinton is not for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the town of Rhinebeck would say if it were presented. I guess we rely on you to keep us informed. People, I think the consensus of that group, and at least my own personal feeling, is that it just adds to the cost and burden on the tax collector to spread out the payment in installments, because we're usually finished getting the money at the end of March. Also, I don't know what that does to our cash flow, because we take in the bulk of the money by March 1st, and we have a lot of big expenditures. We pay the library its money then. We pay a number of things, so that really has to be
The God's
thought
honest
through.
truth
And
is,
let me just finish. And my understanding is that if the county does it, we have to do it too. The villages, well, I don't know about the villages, but the towns would have to do the same thing, so it coincides with whatever installments the county does. Is this something that has a life and we may be stuck with this, or is this
I tell you
going
what,
nowhere?
the God's honest truth is, I will confess that years ago when I saw on MidHudsonNews.com that Sullivan County was doing it, I've proposed this off and on for years, but the devil's in the details, and maybe I should have been in closer contact with you. It's not something that I'm actively pushing now, because the Clinton Town Board already, I think they passed a resolution in the last week or two or month or so, dead set against it. And I live in the town of Clinton, and I'm not getting a whole lot of positive support for it here. And it's not something I'm advocating. I apologize. I should have run it by you. I don't know where it stands. I get the sense that it's not going to pass. I get the sense that it's not going to happen. But, you know, what is it? Democracy, freedom, the price is eternal vigilance. You know, do you want me to email the 5 of you, the 6 of you, the actual text of the legislation so you can look at it?
I think so we can, you know, if this has a threat of moving, at least we can weigh in.
I'll do that.
As to whether we think this is a good idea or
In the next
it's-
48 hours or 24 hours, you'll get that.
It's what? Okay. And it's not likely to move in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what
No,
your
there's
session
a
is.
cycle, you know, it needs to be placed on legislators' desks, and then it sits for a few weeks in discussion and the vote. So, you know, I don't see it happening, but just to be safe, I'll make sure all 5 or 6 of you, all 6 of you have a copy of it.
Is there any other legislation that's going to adversely or favorably affect the towns?
Can I be frank? I feel stupid because you're reminding me of something I've worked on for 11 years, which may or may not impact the towns directly, but people who live here, it's item pricing. For better or for worse, I consider one of my proudest achievements is I've kind of led the fight for the last 2 or 3 years. Literally about 15 times in the last 3 years, they've put the power structure in the county legislature has put on the agenda for committee day. We're going to basically blow a huge loophole in the current item pricing law in Dutchess County. And then I blast an email out to everybody and they pull it. I get the impression they're set to ram it through. And to be specific, so some people say that, well, you know, we don't really need to have prices on the items in the supermarkets because, you know, you can have scanners in the aisles. But I'm 50 years old. You know, even if I have 12 items from different, you know, how are we supposed to trust that the item price in the aisle is the same price as the checkout? And we're supposed to, it's just like a simple common sense consumer protection to me. You know, why rip it away? Along with the fact that we're still in the worst recession we've been in 80 years. It's been proven all over the country. The supermarkets, they lay people off. Whenever this law is repealed or weakened, as they want to do, they lay people off. So and that is probably, I should have brought that up at the beginning of my thing. That is going to be voted on very soon. And so, yeah, feel free to call 486-2100 or email all 25 of us, county legislators at dutchessny.gov on that. One thing, there's a $6 billion surplus right now in the state. $6 billion state surplus. If we want to make sure that you know, every November, December is kind of like a bloodletting, and all of a sudden the people running county government are, hey, we don't have money for this, and we're going to cut back from that, and we're going to steal some county sales tax revenue from the town and village of Rhinebeck, stuff I've been fighting for years. All I'm saying is the reason why I bring up the $6 billion surplus now from the, you know, the settlements with the banks and the insurance industry, now is the time to call Albany, Republicans and Democrats, 877-255-9417. Would be a little nice to have some of that money to help operating expenses in the municipalities. It's 877-255-9417.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Is there any other business? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move. Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.